This is Epic Book Recaps, a podcast that offers complimentary audio summaries of influential nonfiction books, making learning a smarter experience. Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. Grasping the essence of our history is pivotal in comprehending our present and future existence. The cosmos commenced its magnificent journey approximately 13.5 billion years ago, birthing the fascinating field of physics through the manifestation of matter and energy. This was shortly followed some 300,000 years later by the evolution of atoms and molecules, marking the dawn of chemistry. Life, in the form of the earliest organisms, emerged about 3.8 billion years ago, thereby signaling the beginning of biology. And then, around 70,000 years ago, the evolution of Homo sapiens marked a significant chapter in the annals of human history. Three landmark revolutions have indelibly marked the progress of humanity. The cognitive revolution, initiating roughly 70,000 years ago, marked the advent of the human mind and its prodigious potentials. The agricultural revolution, which took place about 12,000 years ago, led to a significant shift from hunting and gathering to cultivating crops and domesticating animals. The scientific revolution, commenced merely 500 years ago, has drastically reshaped our understanding of nature by propelling advancements in various scientific disciplines like mathematics, physics, astronomy, biology, and chemistry. Being Homo sapiens has endowed us with superior brain power, making us the most influential organisms on Earth. The evolutionary process has elevated our neural capacity, nerve concentration, and dependence on others. Distinct from other species, human babies require years of care and protection as they are born not fully mature. In the bygone era, the entire tribe participated in child-rearing activities, and those proficient in social interactions were more likely to survive. Consequently, our brains are naturally inclined towards forming relationships with friends and family, viewing them as essential for survival. If this correlation strikes a chord with you, this summary will add to your intrigue as it walks you through the fascinating journey of humanity and the influence of the past on the present-day societal structure. Comprehending human history equates to grasping the operating manual of ourselves and the world. We must delve deep into the core insights of our past to uncover our identity and predict our future trajectory. Let's delve deeper into understanding the evolution and transformation of humanity over time. Just as our childhood experiences shape our character and behavior, history molds our thoughts and actions. The cognitive revolution, a catalyst for storytelling and collaboration. In antiquity, multiple human species cohabitated until Homo sapiens emerged victorious, replacing the others. The scientific community is still grappling with the enigma of how this transition took place. One hypothesis suggests interbreeding, while another theory, known as the replacement theory, indicates that Homo sapiens may have annihilated rival species. So, how did we evolve from rudimentary creatures to beings ruling the planet? One of the principal reasons is our unique and flexible language that allows us to express the intricate details of our complex world. While ants are adept at communication and collaboration for simple tasks, they lack the capacity to delve into family matters, emotions, or social hierarchies. On the other hand, we share these traits with apes. However, our ability to concoct complex myths, gods, and other works of fiction sets us apart and unites us as a species. The cognitive revolution was triggered by ideas, fantasies, and beliefs, which led to the emergence and evolution of diverse cultures, nations, and religions. People make sacrifices in wars for their nation, devote their time to law firms in pursuit of justice, and construct churches to honor their gods. Nations, human rights, states, corporations, money, and gods are all products of our collective imagination. These fictions exist because millions believe in and support them, a direct consequence of the cognitive revolution. Despite significant evolutionary leaps, our DNA still holds on to the behavioral patterns of hunter-gatherers from 30,000 years ago. An example of this is our propensity to crave high-calorie food, a trait developed for survival in ancient times. As a result, even with an abundance of food at our disposal, we sometimes find it hard to resist overeating. In terms of relationships, Homo sapiens have historically embraced diverse forms of relationships, some monogamous, some polygamous, some heterosexual, and some homosexual. There is no correct or natural way to live, but a broad spectrum of cultural choices to explore and accept. Prior to the agricultural revolution, humans were foragers who possessed an in-depth knowledge of their environment. A few hours of gathering and hunting provided ample time for gossiping, playing with children, and savoring the simplicity of life. Back then, gossiping was more than just a hobby for the curious. It was an evolutionary necessity to understand who contributed to the tribe's survival. Foragers subscribed to animism, a belief system that attributes souls to animals, plants, objects, and phenomena. This ideology suggests that humans do not occupy the highest rung of the natural hierarchy, and that other entities do not exist to serve them, but have their own emotions and needs. The agricultural revolution, a double-edged sword. The agricultural revolution, which commenced around 12,000 years ago, heralded the advent of farming, a critical milestone in our evolution. This breakthrough facilitated population growth and the creation of more complex social structures, such as cities and states. This, in turn, paved the way for the emergence of political, economic, and cultural institutions. While the benefits of the agricultural revolution are undeniable, we should also consider the drawbacks and the price we have paid for progress. One such cost of our evolution is the tragic death of a 4-year-old boy, because excessive rainfall resulted in the failure of his father's rice crop. Settling in one place and intensified labor led to the spread of diseases. Dependence on a limited range of crops resulted in a less diverse and nutritious diet. Despite working harder than their ancestors, people found themselves trapped in a poor quality of life with no escape route. The aspiration for an easier life turned out to be a double-edged sword, ensnaring us in additional responsibilities and struggles. Since the agricultural revolution, we have mistaken luxury for simplicity. Many devote the majority of their time to work, hoping to eventually have enough leisure time to pursue their true passions. However, this aspiration is accompanied by a mortgage, children, and the desire for more possessions. And with that comes the realization that luxury fails to fill the void within us, and working hard does not always provide us with the sense of purpose we yearn for. We also made strides by creating social networks to simplify communication and connect more easily. But does a barrage of messages make us feel more relaxed? Is it genuine progress if we become increasingly anxious, stressed, and burdened with work? We must strive to lead a fulfilling life and ensure that luxury does not enslave us. The repercussions of the agricultural revolution were not limited to humans. Human activities have disrupted animals' instincts, sexuality, and social lives. Sometimes this involved acts of cruelty, such as cutting pigs' noses to prevent them from escaping or killing calves to maintain cows' milk production. Modern farming practices involve separating calves from their mothers and confining them in a cage barely enough to accommodate their bodies. The calves are denied any form of play or movement, all in pursuit of tender muscles and flavorful steak. Their only interaction with other cows is on their way to their impending slaughter. Therefore, the progress and luxury we enjoy have been paid for with the cost of individual suffering. However, all is not lost. We have the power to make better choices. Inequality, a manifestation of society's fictions. Today, equality is regarded as a fundamental value. However, in the past, people believed that hierarchy was crucial for maintaining order, prosperity, and stability. Despite efforts to promote equality, such as the American Declaration of Independence, the supremacy of certain groups over marginalized ones continued to reign: white people over black people and Native Americans, men over women, and the rich over the poor. These fictions are products of the human psyche, as no scientific evidence exists to substantiate any biological differences between white and black people beyond their physical appearance. Discrimination is a product of random historical events that have perpetuated the established social order for future generations. Even after the abolition of slavery, segregation persisted due to myths and stereotypes about black people and centuries of discriminatory treatment. Inequality was often justified with religious and scientific reasons, primarily to defend slavery, gain power, and feel superior. While men and women exhibit slight biological differences, gender inequality is largely a product of social and cultural constructs rather than biological differences. Since the agricultural revolution, most societies have been patriarchal, nurturing and training women to conform to feminine roles and men to adopt masculine roles. The roots of gender inequality are complex and largely undefined. Various theories have been proposed to explain why societies value men more, but none provide a satisfactory explanation. Men are generally physically stronger. However, women were denied access to education, politics, the priesthood, and the legal profession, which have little to do with physical strength. Men's cognitive and hormonal systems are more geared towards violence, making them better soldiers. So why were women not entrusted with the intellectual management of war? Survival strategies rendered men more aggressive and ambitious, while women exhibited more submissive traits and focused on raising children. Men sought social dominance to attract a partner, and women chose the strongest partner to care for them and help raise their children. Interestingly, some animal behaviors suggest that female dependence on help with child rearing led to the formation of matriarchal societies. Women are capable of bearing children, and while child rearing is a natural ability, it should not be considered their sole purpose. Moreover, labels like natural and unnatural are derived from Christian theology. Biology suggests that unnatural phenomena do not exist, and all possibilities are natural. Money, empires, and religions have interconnected our world. Money, a psychological construct representing imagined value, emerged as a solution to the need to exchange goods and favors. It fostered large-scale cooperation, allowing us to convert land into food and health into knowledge. While money has facilitated the construction of robust economies, it has also perpetuated inequality and shifted our focus towards wealth at the expense of other values. Empires, despite bringing along cruelty, violence, destruction, and war, leaving behind a trail of suffering, have also played a significant role in spreading ideas, goods, institutions, technology, and cultures. Religion has shaped human values and beliefs, fostered a sense of connection, and provided a sense of belonging. Buddhism, one of the major religions, revolves around Siddhartha Gautama, a human who questioned why people experience unhappiness, anxiety, and frustration regardless of their possessions or actions. He concluded that suffering arises from cognitive patterns of behavior. When the mind experiences something distasteful, it craves to be rid of the irritation. When the mind experiences something pleasant, it craves that the pleasure will remain and will intensify. Yuval Noah Harari. Our minds are prone to craving, and craving is closely linked to dissatisfaction. Buddhism proposes that the solution lies in experiencing feelings as they are without longing to change them. Siddhartha Gautama formulated meditations focusing on an individual's feelings rather than prescribing what one should feel. This is the path to achieving nirvana, a transcendent state free from suffering, fantasies, desires, and the sense of self. No craving means no pain. Humanity has sought to comprehend the world through various myths, superstitions, and religions, including animism, polytheism, and monotheism. Ancient legends and fictions indicate that solving a mental riddle or daring to think outside the box could lead to despair and catastrophe. However, in contemporary times, our beliefs have become more fluid and are frequently subject to scrutiny. In the 16th century, a significant shift occurred with the emergence of the scientific revolution, which originated in Western Europe. The revolution brought with it a plethora of questions and answers. The more we, as humanity, learn, the more we realize the vastness of our ignorance. The ability to question our beliefs and admit our ignorance propels our progress. We have paid a hefty price for our evolution. In the past 5 centuries, science and technology have facilitated human advancement beyond expectations. While religion claims to hold all the answers about life, science relies on empirical research to find solutions. Once we understood that disasters and global problems stem from our ignorance, our focus shifted towards scientific inquiry. Scientists have conducted research and studies in fields aligned with our religious, economic, and political interests or the desires of those in power. For instance, Captain James Cook's voyages contributed to the subsequent colonization of new regions. His expedition to Tasmania culminated in horrific violence and the extinction of the Tasmanian people. Was it a scientific expedition or a military operation to propagate European imperialism? Probably both. There has always been a link between science and imperialism, as conquering required scientific advancements that aided expansion. Capitalism has been another significant driver of scientific progress. From a financial perspective, capitalism is a system based on private ownership and a free market with profit as the primary objective. Now, capitalism has evolved into more than just an economic system. It has permeated our psyche. It was also the driving force behind European imperialism, as authorities financed expeditions and discoveries, leading to financial success and colonization. The singular focus on wealth and power also resulted in slavery, exploitation of people and resources, pollution, illnesses, and deaths. Without ethical values, capitalism lacks justice. While capitalism is a force for progress, wealth, and innovations that address our global problems, it is also a force of inequality, environmental degradation, animal exploitation, and individualistic and consumeristic behaviors. Overall, capitalism is a complex system, ushering in both progress and suffering. But how do we mitigate the suffering? Acknowledge that the opposite system, communism, has even more disadvantages. Learn from the mistakes we made in the past. Exhibit patience as the economic pie will grow and people will no longer be in need. Did you know? Due to the development of the free trade market economy, approximately 10 million enslaved Africans were transported to America during the 16th and 19th centuries. The Industrial Revolution marks a turning point in our history. Approximately 200 years ago, the onset of the Industrial Revolution marked our tryst with technology. With the invention of machines like the steam engine, we entered an era of mass production and consumerism. The advent of consumerism was necessary to ensure that we purchased goods and sustained capitalism. Have you ever noticed how advertisements infiltrate your mind, persuading you that you will be happier with a particular product? Sometimes we may even feel inadequate, prompting us to buy something to feel better. Break free from the shackles of materialistic fulfillment and embrace the power of enriching experiences, meaningful connections, and personal growth. The Industrial Revolution also made us more individualistic. In the past, people's desires and welfare were dependent on their community and family. Now the government and the market are responsible for fulfilling our desires. For example, People used to rely on their children to provide for them in their old age. Now, the market offers us jobs, pensions, and insurance. Traditionally, communities and families imposed constraints on our freedom by dictating our destiny. However, as time has progressed, we have gained the ability to make choices regarding our partners and life paths. This newfound freedom comes with its own set of challenges. Evolution has ingrained within us a predisposition for communal living, leading to feelings of detachment and isolation in modern society. Therefore, our collective imagination has created entities that we can all believe in and belong to, such as corporations, nations, religions, and consumer tribes, groups of people connected based on their interests and what they consume. We have drastically transformed our world and risen above all the other creatures on the planet. But have these advancements made the world a better place to live? Some argue that a broader range of abilities makes us more miserable as we work harder and create new problems out of the progress, like environmental degradation or inequality. Our reality doesn't align with the forager brain that evolution has formed for us for millions of years. We also turned animals into machines to satisfy our needs while neglecting theirs, so they are not happier either. Another perspective says we progressed by eliminating famine, deaths, and violence. We solved some old problems, but can't hide from the new ones behind the word progress. Happiness does not really depend on objective conditions of either wealth, health, or even community. Rather, it depends on the correlation between objective conditions and subjective expectations. Yuval Noah Harari. Our reality comprises two dimensions: the observable world, encompassing forests, animals, and lakes, and the fictions we invented, governments, companies, and nations. The fate of the observable world depends on our imaginations, the second dimension, and how we envision it. All things, apart from science and objective reality, are myths that enable us to build a prosperous society. As a result, if we stop believing in them, even concepts such as human rights and Apple will cease to exist. Everything around us, from the internet to governments, is a product of our minds. And our desires are shaped by society's most prevalent myths. Do we feel happier than our ancestors in this capitalist consumerist society? One perspective is that our happiness depends primarily on biochemistry and less on psychological and sociological conditions. A business owner is not happier than a medieval servant, as it's not the money that makes us content but serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin. Acquiring another $1 million for a business owner is akin to buying shoes for a servant. Another view is that you can endure anything if you understand why and if it's meaningful. Scientifically, life has no inherent meaning. But just as medieval people's belief in a paradisal afterlife brought them happiness, we can create our own sources of happiness. Another solution is eliminating cravings, accepting our feelings, and truly understanding who we are. The power to shape the planet bestowed upon us by our thinking and communication skills now places the onus on us to use this power responsibly. Consider doing this. Take a moment to reflect on how society's myths have shaped your life. Be mindful of the items on your shopping list and analyze their environmental and societal impact. Support companies that refrain from violence and uphold social responsibility.